What is up, people? We are having a great crypto day today. We got a whole bunch of cool stuff lined up for you today. But the big news, I mean, obviously, is that crypto is just skyrocketing, and that is really fun. But, to put it in perspective, I mean, I'm still not anywhere near a lot of my price targets. We got Bitcoin at almost 122,000 as I look. So going through the charts is going to be so much fun. Today, let's see, we got a lot of chat already, which is awesome. I love it when we start and just have a huge chat section. So let's read some of that stuff. My guy says, Cloudy Vibes, what is up? Green Algo says, sup, Bishies. Trying to keep it algorithm friendly. Let's see, you got Algo needs to explode ASAP. Yeah, I think we're, I think this is the time. October is where we're going to get to it. Green Blue Algo says, I still haven't done the alpha arcade task. Felt like I was calling a bookie and was out of my depth. It's a little, here's the thing about alpha arcade. Like, I love the project. I love what they're doing. I don't think it's explained very well. I was very confused using it the last time I used it. And I don't want to make like 3 bets. Like, they should just did 1 bet. I don't know why it was 3. I don't want to, like, you're making me commit to like $15 of bets for what? Like, I'll try stuff out, but like that's like saying, oh, buy this $20 NFT to complete the reward. I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, you could actually make money, of course, but I don't know. Am I on? Oh, I had my volume on, doubling it up a little bit there. For people wondering what we're talking about the Algorand promotion that Algorand is putting on. It's I don't think I'm going to do this week's. I'm just not. And I like Alpha Arcade. I'm actually thinking about, I actually talked to them about they're promoting some live streams where the idea is, boy, it is just really hard. I'm watching the crypto charts. It is so hard not to just dive into the crypto charts, but we will get to that. But they will promote your live stream on the page. And then the idea is like during the live stream, you're supposed to make a prediction market about something going on in it. They didn't explain it super well at first. I thought it was just like they would promote your live stream and like maybe you could periodically reference it throughout the stream, but they actually pay you 2,000 alpha too, which is it's not nothing, but it's not like a huge amount of money, but it's not nothing. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. We'll see, but I just don't want to go make a bunch of bets. Like 1 bet would have been enough. I think that's enough to try it out. I don't think making you do 3 of them was great, but anyway, Cloudy Vibe says, can't wait he's talking about Algo to reclaim 61 cents. Foundation tripping over themselves, trying to nerf the run up. Excited to have a CTO again. Really great CEO. Awesome CEO. Like, and actually it was funny. I didn't realize it at first, but he's one of the people that I cited when I did my debunking video on ISO 20022. He was one of the people from XRP that I cited saying, yeah, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. I mean, ISO 2002 is real. It's a bank messaging standard, and a dApp built on a blockchain could use that messaging standard if it was like a bank messaging app or dApp or something like that. Like, it just has nothing to do with the underlying crypto. There's nothing to be compliant to because it's not a compliant standard. It's a syntax. Let's see. Green Blue Algo says 328 or I hold until the end of the death of the universe. Only then I sell node rewards. I have to sell something this December for my birthday trip. Drums says, hi, chat. What's up, Drums? Good to have some X-chatters here. Let's see. We already said you're hoping by December to be over 60 cents. I just heard the explosion. Wasn't sure what was going on. Yeah. Big explosion. Well, that's what you got to do to get views sometimes. But it is. I mean, I don't think it's wrong. Dude, Bitcoin's like almost 122. It was 109 this time last week. My last video was like that crypto prices were tanking. And I bought a bunch of Bitcoin at 109. So 120, 11% is in a week is pretty big in my opinion. I mean, we get spoiled in crypto because we're like we get these like crazy returns sometimes, but like 20% in a 10, 11%. Ethereum's like 14% in a week. By Solana's like 20% in a week. That's crazy. That's what my like S&P returns are for the year. I'm at like 14% for the year on S&P, and I'm like, yes, let's go. Anyway, I get so mad when Bitcoin is up a lot while algo is at the bottom. Well, there's kind of a lag that goes on there, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. $15 plus tax, says Cloudy Vibes. Yeah, that's kind of true. I got a lot of chat today. I like it. I'm here for it. Getting a lot of spam kick comments too. Good grief. My video must be taken off on Kick or something. I actually fell on followers on Kick. I went from 11 to 9. Oh well, that's fine. Green Blue says, wasn't sure if the bet would need to be complete by the end of the week. Yeah, that's a good question. I think you just make the bet. Everyday Algorand in the chat saying GM. What is up, my brother? Yeah, so if you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button. I got to start saying that earlier because the likes really help share the video. And with live stream, that's really important. Hey, by the way, how's the audio? I turned down the gain a little bit because my recorded videos were starting to peak out. And it's kind of hard to tell in OBS. Like, it looks like you're peaking out, but you're not. But then lately, I actually have been peaking out. And I think that's because I've been on top of the mic a little more than I had been. So anyway, do hit the like button. It helps a lot. And if you're not subscribed, I'd appreciate you doing so. We did have a channel member video this week too. So you can become a channel member for starting at only $1. $4 gets you extra videos where I go through all my portfolio and my experiments that are going on. You get to learn the Compex, what we learned about Compex. Audio is fine, says Everyday Algonaut. Mike Todd in the chat says best algo content on the interwebs. I appreciate that. Green Blue Algo says my milled silver tokens are up almost 60%. Yeah, a lot of volatility there in those ASAs. Because you got to be willing to be down 60% too, or more. And the more you go down, the higher percentage it is to go up. So if you go down 50%, you need a much higher percentage up to make that up. You need 100% up. And can you keep that in mind? Everyone's saying the audio sounds good. So, okay, awesome. Yeah, like it was during the week, my two recorded videos were peaking out like crazy. And it's just so weird. You do the same thing every time, but then all of a sudden, boom. Penrod says, where do you see H-bar XLM algo topping out this cycle? I definitely don't know enough about XLM to even begin making that comment. Stellar's about 40 cents right now, but I haven't looked at its movement. I'm hoping for like a $2 to $3. I've been saying that pretty consistently. In H-bar, I'm not sure because H-bar is now flipped Algorand in price, which is surprising to me, actually. It's very surprising to me. So who knows? $2 to $3 maybe could be a possibility. That would be a huge market cap. But here's one thing that drives me nuts when I see these people do this market cap math where they're like, oh, if I don't know, let's just pick a random, let's say Gala. If Gala was had the market cap of Dogecoin, it'd be worth this much. I was like, yeah, but who cares? Like that's like saying, you know, oh, if this pond had the water of Lake Michigan, it would be, you know, the water levels would be this high. Yeah, but there's nothing about that tells you any information. Penrod says, I'll take $2 to $3 algo H-bar. Yeah, me too. Green Blue says, XLM is my third biggest bag because I'm lazy about selling it after transfers. Interesting. I have some Stellar somewhere. That I bought a long time ago, and it's like, I don't know, it's probably like $40 worth or something. I mean, I don't even really count it in my bags. Like, I didn't buy it for the bull run. So when I go through the bull run portfolio, which I only talk about on my channel member videos, did anyone even watch that one? I'm always surprised because people pay for the membership, but they don't always watch the videos. Yeah, no one watched that. No one watched. People are paying for the channel member videos and they're not watching it. I just don't understand that. It's kind of frustrating. I guess you have the right to watch it or not, but I'm kind of surprised people would pay for something and then not take advantage of it. But yeah, so before I'm going to get to the news, I'm going to get to the charts. Actually, let me get through the charts and then I'll do my sponsorship stuff. Because I do want to give a shout out to Haystack and to Marcus Furlius, but we'll do that. I just got to get to these charts. This is crazy. So let's take a look here because holy bananas. So let's go to the full screen one here. Can you guys see this all right? I know it's kind of small. We can probably, here we go. Let's make that a little bit bigger. So first off, we're talking Bitcoin at 121.8, almost just under 122,000, up 11.4% on the week and about 2% on the 24 hours. So I'm not, you know, I bought pretty heavily on when it was around 108, 109, and now I'm going to hold off for a while. And I'm just an accumulation on Bitcoin. I am not doing any trading with Bitcoin anymore. I kind of wish I hadn't earlier, to be honest, even though I completely did risk my portfolio by doing so. I wish I had. In Ethereum, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I've decided I might start moving more coins into that territory. The ones I think are just going to stick around a while. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're just too big to fail. In other words, even though Ethereum's tech really sucks, I mean, compared to some of the newer entrants, and I say newer, I put newer in quotes. Ethereum is at like 4,500 right now, up almost 14% on the week, 2% on the day, moving upwards. Good to see. Now XRP 305, we've definitely had higher. We were at like what, 350 something as I recall, and I definitely took some profits there. So nowhere near my profit taking levels. Look at BNB. It's been up over 1,000 for a while. Solana 233. I think I took profits at 275, or maybe that's my next target. I can't remember. I should probably pull that up. Green Blue says if you were to roll all of your holdings into 4 projects, what would those be? Well, first off, I definitely wouldn't do that. I'm going to tell you that flat out. Bitcoin would definitely be one of them. Algorand would probably be one just because I like all the DeFi stuff, not necessarily for the pump action. I know it's going to go up. They're all pretty much going to go up at some point. I assume they tend to. There's some very good theories about that. We're outside of, we're kind of moving past the cycles. The cycles are leveling off. In fact, I think that's pretty obvious if you just look at the data, but I still think we're going to have them. So, you know, who knows, maybe $2 is all that Algorand gets. Maybe $1.50, $2 is all that Algorand and HBAR gets this cycle. And maybe there just isn't that much of a cycle. It's going to be interesting to see what things will level off to, because I think we're not going to get the same dips either. That's part of the reason why I'm definitely moving into a buy and hold on Bitcoin and just kind of taking a... In fact, I've thought about, there's Arch Public where you can algorithmically trade, where it just basically sells when you get pumps and buys when you get dips, which is kind of what I'm doing manually, but, you know, it'd probably be a little more optimized if you do it algorithmically. So I don't know, I'm thinking about that. Let's keep working our way down. The Hyperliquid, kind of interesting, isn't it? Look at Chainlink. Chainlink up 10%. I really love the approach that Chainlink is taking. So I'm having fun, like, exploring new coins. Mike Litiris says good morning. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, Mike, but appreciate you having here. Good morning. Chainlink, yeah, up 22, getting on $23. You know, we were at 25 before, 30 even, I think. I can't remember what it topped out at so far this cycle, but definitely got some ways to go. But I love what Chainlink is doing. I love that they're offering off-chain services, but then taking those profits and putting them on-chain. I think that's really smart. SWI at 362. Now we've been over $4, but 15% pump. I have my issues technologically with SWI. I stopped making content on SWI because of that. But that doesn't mean I don't think it's going to pump. I mean, so you know, going back to the question of what would your holdings be, it kind of depends. Are they holdings just to make money, or holdings to actually do things on chain and do DeFi? Because those are two different questions. You know, I don't think Algorand's one of the best pumpers. It's just not. I mean, we've seen that. I'd love that to change for some reason. It tends not to be the case. Hedera doing great. Now remember, here's the thing about Hedera. Most of my average buy is around 5 cents. So 22 cents, you know, this is over 4x. I think it's going to get more like 10x at least. So 50 cents, 60 cents, not unheard of wouldn't be a surprise to me at all. You know, over $1 would be pretty awesome, I think. Let's see if there's anything else on the charts that I care about. Cloudy Vibe says, I'm happy I picked up some link. Mike is laughing. I think I mispronounced your name. I'm pretty sure I did. It should come with a little guide or something, right? Lateris? I think it's Lateris. That's what I'm going for. Literis sounds like something that's going to get me banned on YouTube. I'll get in trouble. Wow, Aptos is really flying. Interesting. And near over $3 now. We're just hit actually exactly $3, 10% pump. But Near's got a long ways to go. It was at, I sold off a bunch at 750, I think, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what my price target was. Green Algo says, agree, try not to hold for pure speculation anymore, only utility. I don't. Yeah, I definitely bought some Solana. I can't, listen, I think the tech is horrendous on Solana, but, you know, you can't deny that it pumps in price. PayPal's USD is on the charts now. Pump.fund. Yeah, so we talk about the market cap, you know, Algorand was at almost 58, 59, down to 56, and we will get to that in a second. There's a lot of new stuff like WorldCoin, World Liberty, Financial USD. There's USD. Well, I don't think that one's on there yet, but a lot of stuff is just kind of entering the market and then working its way up. And that's going to push down some of the coins like, yeah, look at Pi still on here. Pi not doing well. Neither is Memecore. Let's see. Yeah, Caspin, not that great. VeChain, not decent. KuCoin, not so. I mean, these are all, you know, you're happy if you're holding these coins, but Algorand 10%, so that's pretty respectable. I don't know. I always hear like people will say, oh, Algorand's not pumping at all. You know, it stays still while the other market moves. Not really. It's moving. It's not going to be, it's never going to be like, it's not going to be like 25% when everything else is. It was in November though. Don't forget that. People forget about that. Yep. Some pudgy penguins. You got Render, Flare, Say. Oh man. Oh, Green Blue Algo just explained the joke to me. Simon Manshave, what's up, Simon? Says Coop has token on Pump Fun as far as I know. I need to see if I'm rich yet. Yeah, Coop, I saw Coop did something with Pump.fun. See, MYX Finance is down, and this is why I think this is one of the market movers. I wonder if you can buy that. I should check to see if you can buy that on Coinbase. This would be a good one to like counter trade with, because it seems to be up when the market is down and vice versa. I guess Sky is a what's the word I'm looking for? An RWA coin of some kind. I heard about that. I saw it on a list. Immutable X, which doesn't their logo look very much like the X logo? Maybe I'm being silly. I don't know. Well, who's like doing the best? Who's doing the best on the hourly or daily chart? PancakeSwap way up. EtherFi, SPX 6900, Zcash, BNB, and then Story, then Aptos. What about on the week? Is it the same? Nope. Zcash way up. Then Pump.fun is way up. SPX, then Pancake, Dex, Aptos, BNB, Ether. Now even Solana at 20%. That's not bad. Can't complain too much about that. Now this is interesting. We were actually, here's what's interesting. I swear we were in greed territory not that long ago when I checked earlier, and now we're back down to neutral. One person is hoarding folks' black passes for some reason. I'll tell you, I had zero interest in that. Absolutely zero interest in that. I don't really use folks very much. I like their staking. I like that you can just kind of lend USD and make some money. I should probably be doing more of that. I got way too much USD sitting around. But yeah, I just, that stuff, like, it's like, why? I just don't need it. Coin market cap, fear and greed index at 57, neutral, but getting toward that greed. But I swear it was actually at greed, not that when I checked this morning. Maybe I was missing it. It's still saying neutral, and according to the chart, it looks like it didn't. What about the top indicators? Here we go. Here's the market cycle indicators. Have we hit any of them? Looks like a big no. Sorry, you guys can't see them on there. I can move it over a little bit here. Just gonna move it over here. Cloudy Vibe says, how do you feel about ETH Classic? I don't know much about it. It seems to have, you know, stayed at a more reasonable price. I don't know what it's getting used for exactly, so don't know a ton about it. Yeah, so not a single top indicator has hit, although a lot of these are in the green, so going up, but that's interesting. And we're way low on this rainbow chart, although I think this is fairly unrealistic. Why don't we go to Vestige? Catlin Guzman saying, wow, there's Catlin Guzman saying, hello, what's up, Catlin? Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Green Blue Algo says, what do you think about subsidized tiny man pools like Alpha would chuck 5K algo at their pools from remote? Why isn't this happening? Yeah, good question. I'll tell you, I miss the old days of, I'm pretty much not using Tiny Man anymore because the rewards are in Tiny and Tiny is just tanking, which does not surprise me at all. Penrod says in H-bar at 0.047, Algo at 9 cents, and Stellar at 11 cents. Yeah, see, so that's pretty good, huh? And let's see what else we got going on here. No, Tiny's finally going back up. It was actually below 9 cents when I checked this morning. There we go. We can see that chart a little bit. Let's put some indicators. I'm going to put our Bollinger Bands on there. I'm going to sit like a normal person. Hold on a second here. And so we're kind of in this middle ground territory. So we were overbought, I'm sorry, way back in July. But yeah, currently, well, we're on, what are we on, the daily chart? Let's go to the 4 hour. That's what I usually like to see. Is this the 4 hour? Okay. Catlin says, sad, most of my ASA went close to zero. Yeah, that's why I'm really careful about ASAs, because most of them, they just do go to zero. Look at Tiny Man, it's just been tanking. We'll look at that in a second because it's bad. Total 1, 2, 3 just broke all-time high. Nice. Green Blue Algo says because they upped the threshold for restaking to 5K Tiny. Oh, interesting. Catlin says too many Alchemon. Oh yeah, the Alchemons. I didn't really get a lot of the Alchemon coin, but I did receive them. I didn't buy them. I just received them from holding the tokens or whatever. That was supposed to be coming back, but then I haven't heard anything out of it. Anyway, yeah, we're definitely entering into oversold territory. Or overbought, excuse me, not oversold, overbought territory. So definitely a good time to kind of hang on to your hats. Wow, I'm getting a ton of spam on Kick. I wonder why. I must be getting a lot of like views. And I can't see it in I actually can't see it. I can't see the only views that show up on my dashboard now in OBS are from YouTube. Actually, only crypto total market cap 1 and 3. Okay, so definitely kind of a hang on. I usually don't add to my positions when we're in overbought territory or close to it. I usually wait till we're down around here into oversold. Green Blue asks, what's going on with Nyla on X? I didn't mark that one, but maybe we'll look at that in our X segment because, yeah, apparently they got suspended for some reason, and I don't really fully know why. Sean Vogel says, let's go algo. Yes. Simon says, so much spam on all algo right now. I assume it's from Algorand exposure. Not a bad thing, to be honest. Yeah, for sure. Oh, you should see the spam. You should see the spam I get in my comments. Well, a lot of you probably do see it. You can't keep up with it. You can't, it's just impossible. I've seen other channels don't even bother trying either. It just gets to be too much. I looked at AJ's channel the other day and it's full of all the same spam that I get. It's really bad. So let's go back. Yeah, let's look at Tiny because look at this. So I was okay getting rewards in Tiny for a while because they were holding at 2.5. This is the daily chart, and that's a good one to look at. This is back in March. We were around as high as like 4.2 cents, nice little range of 3.7. Then it came down to 2, and I said, okay, still, okay. Then it's been going down under 2 cents, then all the way down. Be curious to look at the Penrod says bot farms. Yeah, I mean it's awful. It's really awful. Now normally when I see a coin at oversold levels, I would say, hey, that might be a buying opportunity. But the problem is there's a reason why it's oversold all the time, because if a token is mostly for rewards, and the Tiny token definitely is, it just means people are going to sell, because that's what they do. They sell it. They're just going to sell it off, and that's it. Jake says, thoughts on Crow crypto? I've seen some really good pumps from it. I'm always very leery of buying the token of a platform, because you see with platforms like FTX or Celsius, something bad happens. One bad event away from the coin just like completely crashing. FTX goes under, there's some shenanigans, and boom, it goes down. That's what I'm always very worried about that. So I would never hold on to one of those long term, unless I just considered it like a real gamble. You know what I mean? Like if you got on early on it and you just want to take a gamble, okay, sure. But really, I mean, I just think they're too risky. And, some like Binance, I mean, they're up to over 1,100. So there definitely is money to be made. I just think they're so risky because it's really, there's a lot of platform risk. Green Blue Algo says you can block keywords. So if you AIX6420 token is spamming, you can block it. Yes, you can. And it does you zero good, because by the time you catch it, they're on to the next one. You should see the list of my blocked words. Maybe, hold on. No, I'm not going to pull it up. Well, Cloudy Vibe says, Tiny mentioned make it a requirement to lock more Tiny to participate in algo staking on their platform so people can stop selling and lock it up. I just think that's like naturally what's going to happen. I think I think the way Alpha is handling it was very smart. The way they're just burning supply whenever they get it, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, going back to Green Blue Algo, yeah, you just literally, when I say I can't keep up, that's part of what I mean. You block the keyword and it doesn't matter because you've already missed it. They all come in a big swoop, a big swoosh. Like you'll get them, you'll get XI, you'll get XA340, and by the time you block XA340, there's a XI690. You know what I mean? You just cannot, keep up. It's awful. Cloudy Vibe says the requirement is only 5K. And yeah, I put in, like, when I got my Tiny, I put in all my Tiny into the governance platform, and then it just, I got more rewards than the amount I put in, and I'm still locking. I never unlocked it, so I'm still getting like weekly rewards. And yeah, I do just sell them because that's what I'm incentivized to do. Green Balago says I bought the Indigo card because Matt Damon told me to be brave. Well, you got to listen to Matt Damon. You do have to listen to him. And how about those apples? Indeed. You know, I just realized I should probably move that up a little bit more. Get the bar out of there. So that's Tiny. Not a fan. Didn't like how that was going. This one's kind of interesting, Liquid Hog. And I had a very interesting exchange with them. Yeah, look at that. I mean, let's go to 4 hour here. So they're doing something very interesting, and it took me some... Look, well, here's the description. Liquid Hog is a utility token designed to power the Liquid Hog ecosystem, enabling smart market analysis and strategic liquidity provision. Liquid Hog, here's the real rub. Liquid Hog holders benefit from advanced trading bots, staking, and community-driven growth. So they're basically, you hold the token, and you get they do trading, algorithmic trading, and then the profits are put back into the coin, and you benefit from that. That's like basically what I gathered from, but I had to press them on it. I was like, what about this? What about that? How does this work? I think one thing in crypto that I've found, the people who develop crypto projects are really, really bad at explaining it and pitching it. Because they'll say something like, designed to power the Liquid Hog ecosystem, enabling smart market analysis and strategic liquidity provision. Like, what do you mean by that? That can mean so many different things. Just say, we do trading bots and you benefit. Boom. We do the trading so you don't have to. Something like that. Like, people are really bad at pitching it. And I think it's a good idea. Like, I'm thinking about making this my next experiment, because like this is a pretty good chart. This is not typical ASA stuff. Dit says, what do you think of locking Tiny as a long-term play for 4 years? I mean, I locked my Tiny, but it was free. I wouldn't buy Tiny today. No way. I just don't, I just went, you know, unless it was like a small amount I was ready to lose. Anything you put into an ASA, it should be money you're willing to lose. It's a gamble. They really are gambles. Let's see. Simon says, early era for Tiny pushed everyone who locked for 4 years in green 100%. Right now, it's not really a profitable strategy anymore. Yeah. I mean, it just didn't work. I think Alpha did it right. And you can see Alpha, look at 14% on the daily. Hold on, I want to see. I don't want to pull this up on stream, so I'm pulling it up. I just want to see what my Alpha is worth. Yeah, my Alpha is currently worth $274, and I put in 100 as my experiment, so that's worked out pretty well. That's my total, yeah. And Ready Pools is working out pretty well for me. Here's Haystack. Haystack did not have a great week. Haystack is a sponsor of the channel. We will talk about the Haystack app when we get through our charts. Interesting to see what's doing well and not. Power going up. There's Vocoin. Where's our everyday Algonaut at? Where is he? Cloudy Vibe says, I don't believe Tiny Man is going anywhere. I've been depositing my Tiny tokens on Folks Finance, earn staking rewards without locking it. Yeah, if you can keep it without locking, that's probably a good idea. You got to do what's best for you. That's one thing I want to get across. Like, you don't owe these token projects anything. You just follow your incentives. And what will be successful is stuff that properly aligns with incentives. Frugal says, are you going to opt into the vote coin to be able to receive donations? Yeah, I guess I better. Ooh, 123 did. Okay, we're going to go back. This is too much fun. I do have a couple of segments. I don't have I just have two because I did a chain link video. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. Look at that. Look at Bitcoin 123. There it is. 123.3 even. Wow. This is the fun stuff. So now it's like 12, almost 13%. These are truly the fun times. These are truly the fun times. All right. You know what? Oh, I can't. I'll opt in later. I'll opt in for next time, every day. We'll do that for sure. Definitely, by the way, definitely an overbought territory. So this is the time you sit back and you enjoy it. And if you're in profit and you haven't taken any profit, it's good to pull a little bit off a table. You know, I do like a laddering approach. So, you know, if I'm up like 2x, I'm going to take like maybe 10% off the table, and then I'll do that again. Every day says, nice Bitcoin pump now. It's awesome. Simon says, been waiting for almost a week now for a bank transfer to go through to Kraken. I just want to buy some more at 109. I hate the current banking system. It's awful. Yeah, banking sucks, bro. Banking sucks. I just hate like the fact that they're like, oh, this is your money. I don't care. We're going to tell you what you can do with it and what you can't. I just think that's like truly awful. Greenbull says, because I sold a bit at 120, you're welcome. Hey, if you took some profit, you got some profit. I'm, like I said, personally, I'm doing with Bitcoin, I'm just buying and holding now, and I'm just buying dips, you know, DCAing on those dips basically. And Cloudy Vibes had a good laugh at that. Yeah, I sold at 120. You're welcome. Love it. Well, that's fun. So I want to talk a little bit about our sponsors, and one of them is the Haystack app, and I really like these guys. I think they're doing great stuff. You can get this on the App Store or Google Play, and it makes it easier to do things on. It's the easiest trading app around. They have the Flex router, which helps you, or tap into it or whatever, helps you get the best trade, and it's all on mobile. And the one thing I don't like about that is it makes it hard. I've been wanting to do like a Haystack demo, but it's really challenging when you have to try to like react to something going on your screen. You know, I don't know have a good way to do that yet. But let's give them a little follow-up. Why don't we just let's see what Haystack has been doing. By the way, I got quote retweeted from Jesse Signal. I don't know if you guys follow him. He's oh, I think we gotta go. Here we go. Here's the Haystack leaderboard. By the way, you can get, if you want to get the Haystack app, you can do that in the description below. I've got a link, and I'd appreciate you using that link. And then you can start referring people. You can get your own referral code, and you can bring people in. Then when people trade, you actually get a little cut of the sales there. So if you want to support the channel, go ahead and check them out. But here's the leaderboard. Let's see if there's anybody I know. Swaps.trillion. You know who that is? That is John Woods. I'm pretty sure. Swaps.trillion.algo. That has to be him, I think. So he's supposed to be coming on the channel soon. He just got word that he's like getting the final approvals or whatever. And yeah, some of these they're not NFTs, so I don't know who it is, but very interesting. Some big updates too. Let's just look at what updates they got. Asset deals got a major upgrade. Live recent trades feed, your activity feed, buy sell chart indicators, all-time gains, first purchase date, pull to refresh. Swaps are smoother than ever. Improved swap quote cards, estimated USD and price impact, native bottom sheet menus, and change and save your sell output. Oh, I see. That's interesting. And then plus new referred users, modal with trading volumes and NFT lookup. Lots of good opt-in for auto opt-in for USDC, and hey, that's a good idea. Updated splash screen design, miscellaneous bug fixes, and performance boosts. End of thread. Oh, they even made a little end of thread thing. That's cool. Do you guys ever sleep? Says Algo Bro. J Hall says Haystack keep getting better. Yeah, so awesome. Very cool. I think it's a great idea. You know, they are a sponsor of the channel, so I guess I would say that anyway. I probably said that anyway, but they are. I do think this is a great idea. Oh, we got 71 followers on X, so X is growing. Nice to see that. But I'm competing with Eleanor Terrett, so that's going to be tough. Let's see. So I just wanted to shout out Haystack for a bit, and then let me also do, while we're here, our other sponsor, Marcus Aurelius. So as you can see, Marcus Aurelius is a play on Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor and a noted Stoic philosopher. And so they got NFTs and a meme coin, which is kind of neat. And it's all based on spreading the wisdom of Stoicism, which has been pretty helpful in my life, to be honest. They've been doing a lot of videos too, which is kind of cool. So, but you can get the Marcus coin. I hold some Marcus. It's you get little rewards for holding it, which is cool. Sean Vogel says, any thoughts on Casper? Honestly, I don't really know much about Casper, and I tend not to comment on things I don't know too much about. In fact, I know absolutely nothing about Casper. In fact, you know what, Sean? Tell me one thing you really like about Casper. Give me your thoughts on Casper. How about that? Oops. I didn't want to go there. So that's that. And let me see. We got... I do have some segments to get to. I've been going for almost an hour already. Simon says, Marcus best performer in Cosmic Champs prize bot wallet. Well, that's awesome. Cloudy Vibe says, get yourself some Marcus. I hope Marcus LP with IPT and farming tiny rewards. There you go. There you go. Yep, plenty of stuff to do with Marcus, and they've been really doing a lot of cool videos. Maybe I should. I'll just share the channel here. So they've been making these animated videos, which are kind of neat. Those are cool. They are up to 109 subscribers, so you should give them a subscribe. And if you haven't given us a subscribe or a like, please do so. I appreciate that. Green says, do you stake in their pool? I think you need to hold Marcus to stake on Ready. I do. Yes and yes. I'm not sure if you need it or not. I think you can just stake it either way, but I don't really know, because I do hold Marcus, and that is the Ready pool that I'm staking to. I figured I had to do either Marcus or NFD. Now Transaction Labs, one of the two I figured would make sense. I stake my algo on Tiny Man, says Cloudy Vibes. I just like the simplicity of Ready pools. I like knowing exactly how much I'm making. I really think they should implement that. And I actually talked to the Tiny Man team about that, or at least someone from Tiny Man. I actually spoke to them about that they can fix that. Well, let's see, 11:20. Why don't we go through some? Let me pull up my segments here. Should we do Algorand or Ondo? I think I'm going to do Algorand first. Let me see. I'm getting some notifications here, and I can't not. I just want to go through this really. Yeah, by the way, there's a new, well, we'll get to that. Oh, I got a reply from Mark from the foundation. That's pretty cool. Sean Vogel says scalable smart contracts, low gas fees. Isn't that Algorand? Are we scalable? I don't know. What does it mean to be scalable? Anyway. Yeah, let's do Algorand here. Okay, so as you guys know, when I do the segments, hold on a second. Oh. As you guys know, when I do the segments, I don't respond to chat unless... Okay, I made that way too loud. I don't respond to chat unless it's absolutely relevant to what we're talking about. So you can comment on, feel free to keep commenting. I'll respond. If it's not related to the segment, I'll just respond afterwards. If it's related, I'll try to work it in because I think that's fun. So we'll do that. We definitely got some cool stuff to share about Algorand, so we'll get to that. Okay, a lot of you guys know that Algorand hired a new CTO, and the new CTO, Nick Bougalis, was an OG of the XRP chain. His hiring prompted the just retired XRP engineer, head of XRP engineering, to give a big shout out to the Algorand Foundation for hiring him. And Nick was someone that I named when I did my debunking of the ISO 20022 narrative. He was one of the people from XRP saying, hey, that whole ISO 20022 compliant thing, not actually a thing. And it isn't. He's right. Well, the Algorand community, as you may expect, has like fully embraced Nick, and we're going to share some of those reactions right now. And by the way, that includes a video. This is a clip from the Verifiably Random podcast, which is Algorand's native podcast. And they've been like scrambling to get these things out. Like, it's hard to keep up. I haven't even heard this one yet. I haven't heard the one before it yet because I just haven't gotten to it because I always got a ton of podcasts to listen to. But let's see what Nick had to say to Mark, who, by the way, just responded to me on something I wrote earlier on X. But let's give a listen.
The challenges that the Algorand in particular faces, whatever those might be, right? So that's my first priority. Very recently, we announced the roadmap. I think you were on that call, where you were discussing the new roadmap. And I think I'm incredibly excited about the things that you discussed. And I'm looking forward to kind of pitching in and trying to help, build, on our way to that roadmap. So my goal for the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks, is to listen, and after that to start contributing more actively and engaging and being more involved on the day-to-day. Broadly, the way I look at it is the foundation has multiple roles. I think that, within our ambit should be to shepherd the ecosystem broadly, right? Support things that need support, provide the framework for the community to contribute and build, right? Empower the community in any way that we can, and just make sure that the space is growing and that Algorand can have a consistent and thoughtful representation. Yeah. The challenges.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I forgot I muted it to drink. Sorry. We're back. So I think what Nick is doing here is really smart. I think he's I think sitting back and watching and taking it all in is really smart, and just start looking for those things that you can improve on. Like I said, he's filling some really big shoes right now. But this is John Allen Woods did some amazing things. He did AlgoKit. He did what else did he do? Native Python programming. Really built out some technical stuff. The staking rewards, that was his doing. So huge stuff, huge accomplishments for John Allen Woods. But now we got Nick Bougalis, an OG from the XRP community, and I think it's wonderful. Wonderful. So guys, thanks for pointing out the audio. I totally missed that. Oops. But thanks for, I muted it to take a drink and I forgot. That's why I don't like to mute my audio. I think maybe I'll just step away next time and do it that way. I think that would be better than having muted audio for sure. So of course, there's already a Nick coin. Let's, because of course there is. People already made a Nick Bugalis coin. I mean, instantly. It pretty much popped up overnight, which probably surprises nobody. But yep, welcome to. No, I want English. Thank you. I don't even know how I did that. And already looking like the typical ASA pattern, up and down. Guys, if you want to play around with this stuff, that's fine, but don't treat these like serious investments. These little meme coins, they're just fun. Anyway, I'm really excited about this guy. I think he's going to do great stuff. You know, meanwhile, week two comes to a close, they said, let's look at week one on Algorand. They had 287,418 on-chain transactions. Total opted-in wallets, 34,646, and 4,215 badges claimed. I think this is awesome. What I don't understand is, did this really bring in a lot of new people? Was that I know they wanted to focus on Web3 people, but I kind of wonder if they really reached the Web3 community too much. I'd be really curious about how many new people came on from other chains or whatever. I'm just not sure that really happened. Let's see. Cloudy Vibe says he didn't like that. Yeah, he had a very nuanced. Let's see that actually. Hold on. Is it really that hard to find? You wouldn't think this would be that hard to find. So someone said, oh wait, that was something different. He did say, I've been running an Algorand validator for the last few days. It's been a pretty smooth experience. Time to set up archival node history. Oh, I thought I had posted something about his. Oh, maybe not. I thought he had posted something about his coin. It must have been in the replies somewhere, which means I probably, well, let me see. Maybe I can find it under replies. I left Dripple 3 years ago. Maybe, gosh, I thought I could. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it. He did respond to that though. I thought it was interesting, but let's go back to nope. Still gonna go back further. Anyway, so that was my thoughts on the Algorand thing. Interesting. Got some new updates for Para too, which is pretty interesting. Green Blue says unlock all the challenges. Yeah, I'm not doing the alpha one though. I wasn't wild about it. Simon says I liked his response to some of the more opinionated individuals. I think he's been very measured, but also like he's not afraid to speak his mind either. I kind of like that. Someone from Solana is giving me rocket boom stuff, whatever. Cool, I guess. Unlock all the duck or D3UC3, but also a .algo guy. Okay, cool. Kind of a crossover there. I like it. Anyway, new Android Para Wallet update is here in version 6.2. This update brings a major update to our in-app swap, including redesigned interface, streamlined flows, smart defaults for a smoother swap experience, fiat inputs, enter inputs in fiat by default for easier calculations. I think that's a pretty big deal. I kind of hate when they do it the other way. Swap history and top pairs, view your recent swaps or trading pairs at a glance, flexible routing options, automatically get the best rates or manually select your preferred router, and now rolling out on the Play Store. Download now. Just the Play Store? Is it not in the iOS as well? That's kind of weird, huh? Yeah, I think they're always improving, and I like that they're always putting work into this stuff. I think that's really big. Green Blue says, I contribute to Algo's fall to relentless selling with zero regard for the chart. Elon just showed how to protect a bullish bearish chart. When spin game back? Yeah, that was fun. I do miss the spin game. I made a couple of cents or whatever it was they were giving out. I thought this was just kind of cool. I just thought this was neat. This is like the chart of all the Algorand Algorand referrals. That's just kind of cool. I can't look at it and like totally understand what I'm looking at, but I just thought that was kind of neat. That's all. Oh, and then this one I thought was really neat. So I just want to take a quick look at this. I actually had a tweet thread, but I'm going to stick that I wrote, but I'm going to stick with Alex at France.algo. Saying Algorand will be integrated into Allbridge, part of Circle's Alliance program, enabling native stablecoin bridging and seamless liquidity flow from EVM chains into the Algorand ecosystem. Transferring USDC from ETH to Algo will be easier than ever. Really excited to see more interoperability integrations. This is exactly what we need to bring more liquidity on chain. And he was reacting to Algorand Foundation's tweet here. But I really liked the way he explained it. I thought he got to the heart of it. Big W for Algo. I agree. And, he got some pretty good views on that. I think that's great. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to share on that. I just think that's a great, the more at this point, like you really need cross-chain liquidity for sure. Will be integrated, announcement of an announcement. Well, I mean, the will be it's apparently coming in Q4 of 2025. So that's, anytime between now and Christmas, I guess, right? Or New Year's, I guess, New Year's Eve. I think it's okay to say, hey, this is coming in this quarter. If they said if it was indefinite, I might agree with you on that. But I see your point for sure. Cassie giving a hello. What's up, Cassie? Sean Sogol saying, you like those apples? How about them apples? Bring back the counter, says Green Blue Algo. Well, as I think we're gonna have a good week for Algorand. So we've got a lot of good news on the Algorand front, and now it's nice to see all this. Nice to see all this activity. Like I said, my one thing with Algorand is I'd really love to see how many people this is bringing over versus people that just are just from the Algorand community completing these challenges. But I haven't really heard them talk about the marketing side, like what they're doing to bring people from other chains. They did say that, they really were targeting Web3 users, not like normies, so to speak. I hate using those terms, but you get what I'm saying. I think that's all our Algorand news. So thanks so much for watching the Algorand stuff. I do have an Ondo segment we're going to go through next, so we'll get to that. I'm going to take a little break. And I think while we're waiting, I just want to see who's leading the charts. And I mean your charts. Green Blue Algo with 125 experience points. You are leading the chart on the top fans, followed by Cloudy Vibes at number 2 and Simon at number 3. Oh, Cloudy says I won 250 Algo giveaway from Foundation for week 1. Nice. Simon says I see ads for Algorand on Reddit. Facebook, and also on my local online news sites. Nice. Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. Greenblue says, well, I hadn't ventured over to alpha, but I consider myself a big algo user, for example. Simon says, congrats on the 250. I say that as well. Very cool. Very cool. So anyway, lots of chatting activity. We got 13 different people on the chart too. That's pretty awesome. Very active chat today. It's helping get more things. We're at 12 likes, so we can get let's get that up to 15 at least. If you haven't liked it already, please do so. Hit that like button. And we got some chats even from X today. It's nice to see those. Very nice to see those. I'm gonna share this actually. If you haven't liked it already, please do so. Hit that like. Yeah, nice little activity across the board. Just a good live stream day today. I was happy to see the foundation in my DM. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm just going to check. Yeah, some people are really excited about the Nick B coin. I'm just like, you know, whatever. Everyday Algonaut saying congrats to Cloudy Vibes. I like to see it. Let's see. Let's set up our Ondo one. And then I've got a video we can watch too. I think I'm gonna start with this one. Get a drink. Well, you guys know that I'm a huge fan of Ondo. Ondo Finance has been continuing to increase its holdings, increase its partnerships, and increase its tokenization. And that's an awesome thing. But September was a huge month for Ondo. I don't know if you guys know this, but there was just a huge amount of activity. And Ondo like kind of laid it all out, what they've all done in September. And this is just September. This is a lot of chains like 6-month plan. Ondo has done this all in the course of a month. So, and they actually consider it September to be Ondo's most significant month. So why don't we dive into this, because this is awesome. September marked Ondo's most significant month to date. From the launch of Ondo Global Markets to Wisdom Tree joining the Global Markets Alliance and USDY now live on Stellar, Ondo is executing on its vision to build an open economy accessible to all. Ondo Global Markets launches with 100 plus tokenized stocks and ETF. We covered this, by the way. This was like really awesome news. And this is huge because it allows people in other countries to trade on these coins trade on these stocks that might not otherwise have access to it. Plus, I think it's just a good idea to have it on chain. Makes everything, it just adds liquidity, makes everything just a lot easier for people. OUSG becomes the sole anchor and largest investor in Fidelity's tokenized fund. Let's look at that. Are proud to share that Ondo Finance's OUSG fund is the sole anchor and largest investor in Fidelity's new tokenized fund, Fidelity Digital Interest Token. So huge partnership with Fidelity. That is like this is like the Vanguard that actually likes crypto, or that actually likes crypto. So Vanguard like has started to signal that like maybe they'll kind of explore crypto after saying absolutely not for a long time. But Fidelity has been absolutely on it. So just to give a quick shout out of what they're doing: instant 24/7 subscriptions and redemptions, daily interest accruals, low fees, and multi-chain support across Ethereum, Solana, Ripple, and Polygon. Obviously need to add Algorand and HBAR in there, but yeah, big deal. That's just one of the things. We got so much more. Peter Curley appointed head of global regulatory affairs. We talked about this earlier, but this dude is like, well, let's just look. Decades of experience shaping financial policy at Coinbase, the SEC, U.S. Department of Treasury, and the Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing Limited. A little bit of experience, just a little bit of experience that he's bringing to the table. Like that's a guy you want on your team. Awesome job for Ondo. And then here's the Wisdom Tree. Wisdom Tree joining the Global Markets Alliance, which is a global asset manager with 131 billion in Australian dollars, pioneering digital innovation and finance through tokenized assets and blockchain-based investment solutions. And then, of course, they launched their USDY yield coin on Stellar. We're unlocking access to yield for global economics. I'll tell you, the banks don't want this, by the way. The banks are so mad about yield on crypto because they know they've been taking advantage of you for years. They're taking your money and they're investing it and they're making money on your money while you are not making money on your money. So crypto fixes that. That's why this stuff matters. That's why, USDY, good. Let's hold that USDY and make some money. You can take USDC and put it on folks' finance and make money, or you can put it in the bank and earn like 0.1% or some crap like that. Ondo published an open letter to the World Federation of Exchanges. We believe tokenization is not only here to stay, but is an essential step forward for global financial markets. However, recent commentary risks conflating poorly conceived and opaque products with thoughtfully designed and transparent tokenized securities. So we want to make it clear, tokenization is not a loophole. It's a modernization of financial markets. Well-designed products integrate custody, investor protections, transparency, and security on par with or even surpassing traditional systems. And I would say actually definitely surpassing traditional systems. They're just not designed for the new age. And regulators in the US, EU, and globally are already establishing frameworks that recognize tokenized assets as legitimate. Yeah, 100% agree. This is the new administration. They're actually caring about this. They're setting rules, clear guidelines and rules that companies can follow. This is new from the past where they just left it the Wild West and then decided to enforce whenever they felt like it, which is super bizarre to me. So that is Ondo. What a month. Wow, the spam on Kick is crazy. Anyway, let's go back to, let's see, we got more stuff on Ondo, by the way. Look at this TVL. Ondo TVL continues to go parabolic and is now at $1.7 billion. That is with a B. That is a crazy amount of TVL. That's got to be one of the top ones. Gut tells me Ondo explodes in Q4 to $5. I don't want to make any price predictions, but it's already about $1. So that one, $3, $4, or $5 would not surprise me. This one's kind of interesting. I don't know a lot about this, but it said a ton of Ondo was sent to Arthur Hayes' wallet. There aren't any unlocks that happened over the past month, so it looks like Arthur bought these over the counter. Unless I'm missing something, but if he did these over the counter, he did buy these over the counter, then I'm sure he knows something is brewing. Keep in mind that he loaded up on ENA and Hype before those were the talk of the town. Also, interesting timing considering the SEC is giving the green light on tokenized stocks. Am I supposed to know who this is, by the way? Let's look it up really quick. Because, when I see stuff like that, I'm like, remember that thing I said where I think stuff isn't... So he's an American entrepreneur. And seems to care about crypto. Arthur Hayes is a banker. Sorry, let me pull this up here. Here's Arthur Hayes. He was born in 1985. He's an American entrepreneur, a co-founder and former CEO of cryptocurrency exchange BitMEX. Interesting. Hayes is credited with inventing the perpetual swap, a derivatives contract that recognizes crypto trading. And also the youngest African-American to achieve billionaire status in the crypto industry. Yeah, so I think if he's buying, I think that's a pretty big deal. That's kind of a big deal, huh? But it was sent to him. That's, well, like you said, it was probably an over-the-counter transaction. Ondo's head of DeFi, Matt Bloomberg, on stage at Token 2049, explaining why Ondo is the largest issuer of tokenized stocks. Would have been nice to get a little video there, huh? And then this is a little more about the Ondo Fidelity news, which I think is a pretty big deal. A couple weeks back, we saw Ondo OUSG become 99% of Fidelity's FDIT tokenized fund. Fidelity is no small player at 4.9 trillion AUM, assets under management. They're one of the few investment giants on par with BlackRock, which we know Ondo's already partnered with. Now we're seeing Ondo and Fidelity take their collaboration further. The two are hosting an event around digital asset builders. We'll be excited to see how Fidelity and Ondo's relationship continues to progress. Like I said, Fidelity is like basically, they're like the Vanguard that actually likes crypto. Like take Vanguard, you know, which I own a bunch of Fidelity funds and Vanguard. I own both through my stock portfolio, which is far bigger than my crypto portfolio, to be honest. But it'd be cool. Yeah, it'd be cool if I could buy some of this stuff on chain instead, which you'll be able to do. But yeah, Fidelity, Ondo plus Fidelity, I like that partnership a lot. Definitely. Let's see, do we have any Ondo? Also, Ondo is now available on Ledger, bringing tokenized equities to Ledger Live with Ondo Finance. Let's look at this one. We'll go to our other one here. Ledger users can now access 100 plus tokenized stocks and ETFs directly via Ledger Live. Ledger and Ondo's integration gives users a self-custodial way to manage tokenized real-world assets in Ledger Live as seamlessly as their crypto. This integration facilitates scaling of tokenized markets. I wish we could make that bigger. Maybe we can make that. Yeah, there we go. This integration facilitates scaling of tokenized markets by solving the user experience and compliant hurdles. You can do that right on Ondo. Very cool. Right on Ledger Live. I think that's the gist of it. I think that's what we were looking for. So nice. So I am very bullish on Ondo, as you may have guessed. While we're doing that, let's just see some of you guys watching this after the fact. Wow, Bitcoin almost at 124 now. Crazy. Ondo, let's see what Ondo's doing. Let me pull up Ondo here. Yeah, Ondo sitting at just under $1, so it's up a little, you know, heading on up. Maybe not pumping as much as, well, that's nice though. That's a nice candle. What's it been doing on the week? Yeah, about 9% on the week, so not bad for Ondo. Sentiment is bullish, I see. So yeah, nice on Ondo. I like seeing the action on it, and you know, I really think Ondo is going to have a nice Q4. But I think that's it for our Ondo segment. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Let's see. I'm going to catch up on the chat. So I'm way behind on chat. Let's see. Everyday says, I was wondering why there is no info about this type of airdrops on the Algorand website. I tried to motivate a few people to join, then told them there are airdrops, but actually did not find it. Simon said to Ludo, they are advertised on respective socials. If you're active on Telegram, you'll see it. Same for Reddit. Yeah, the airdrop was on X. On X, it's easy to miss. You have to complete all weekly quests to be enrolled. So not so easy. Nothing for Discord. Virgo BC says, I have received some blacklist, whitelist, ticket NFT to my accounts from folks. Do you know if there's some other procedure to claim black folks NFT, or is this going in? I have no idea. I've had zero interest in any of their, whatever it is they're selling. I just think that stuff is, I'm just not interested. The NFT did sell out very fast. Simon says, I really don't think they'll have such a big impact, but we'll see. I hope it benefits in a big way. It's a great for bragging rights, though. A little bit jelly for sure. Yeah, I do think they handled that very strangely, by the way, which we covered. I mean, they did sell out really fast, and the way they should have just made it one per person. Absolutely, like they never should have allowed people to buy multiple of them. In my opinion, if you're gonna have so few of them, then I think that's definitely the way they should have done it. Well, yeah, so it's crazy. Bitcoin is at like 124 now, or pretty close. Actually, let me. There's Bitcoin right now. That's crazy. Oh, it fell back down. Now it's at 123. So it's really dynamic today. I'll tell you that much. I think if you were trading, that would be it'd be a good trading day, I think. Bart Refund says, hi, what is your price target for Algorand at the end of the year? Hey, thanks for tuning in, Bart. I'll tell you what, 60 to 80 cents, I'll be happy. But I'm hoping market top. I'm hoping we're still going to get into that $2 to $3 range, but you never know. My main thing is I usually, instead of price targets specifically, I just look at ranges, and I have sell targets for various crypto. I don't know about Algorand. Algorand's kind of a weird one because I'm staking it and trying to grow it. So yeah, I don't know. I do have a video to respond to. Green Algo says 68 cents, too many meme sells. Oh, there's definitely going to be people selling at that level. I just didn't know if it would be enough to make a difference. And people won't sell their whole bags. They'll sell, chunks of it. Let me find that video. Oh boy. Yeah, we got a nice little audience today. I got one. Yeah, no, it was crazy. It went from like almost every day it says Bitcoin down below 123 now. It went to like way over. Oh, Phil stopped following me. That's interesting. Every day, yeah. So Bitcoin went to almost 124 and then just like dropped down to 123. It was crazy. I don't think I have time to look at another coin right now, Lord Shiva. Thanks for tuning in, though. I appreciate it. EZA ecosystem recently surpassed a massive $4 billion transaction. Yeah, so EZA, the founders of EZA are actually they were on NASDAQ. Sorry, they sat down with the New York Stock Exchange to talk about what they're bringing. Oh, that's the old one. Why did the old one come up? No, they had a new one. Okay, hold on a second. I'm so confused. No, here's the one. Yeah, they did talk to NASDAQ. So we're going to watch at least some of this. I don't know if we're going to watch the whole thing. Green Blue Algo says, I want to consolidate all the float SAM into like 5 projects. My sell order was at 123,456. Ooh, you must have hit it. For sure. So the folks behind Easy App were on the NASDAQ trade talks, which was really, really cool. So we're going to like tune into this one because I think this is awesome. And these guys are the Easy app. They had this huge partnership with Algorand. They added Algorand to their app, and they've been hosting hackathons within Algorand. So the Easy app is made to basically like teach people how to build on crypto. It's a pretty neat app. It's a really interesting project, and these guys are pretty influential. They met with the SEC recently, and now they're talking with NASDAQ. But Let's watch this video.
Welcome to NASDAQ Trade Talks, where we meet with the top thought leaders and strategists in emerging technologies, digital assets, regulatory landscape, and capital markets. This segment is presented by Charles Schwab. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, and joining us this afternoon, we have Mary Ann Miller. She's Vice President and Evangelist and Fraud Executive Advisor at Prove, as well as Phil Kwok, CEO of EZA. We're here to discuss the role of stablecoins, risk management strategies, and evolving market structure. It is great to have the both of you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks. Marianne, let's kick it off with you. Let's talk about the stablecoin megatrend. What is fueling its growth?
Yeah, Jill, it's just, I think what it's really doing is upending payments just generally. So we're seeing lots of different use cases, B2B use cases. We're seeing use cases in, an easy programmability. I just read the other day where stablecoins can launch in just a few days. So I think that, we're seeing actually the use cases that, the volumes are in the trillions. I heard one quote of $27 trillion in actual volume. I'm sure it's more by now. So we really have a lot of usability of this new way of moving money.
Yeah. Phil, let's talk about some of the real world applications where stablecoins are already having an impact. Give us some of those use cases.
There's tons. We've moved vastly on from where stablecoins started off their lives, which was purely in trading. Trading as a way to essentially take profits when you have a lot of volatile assets. So for example, if we're looking at Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP, it was a way to take out profits. Now what we have had this whole DeFi revolution where you actually now have, number one, you have payments. So payments across the world, cross-border, absolutely massive use case. We've spent a lot of time in Asia recently, and there are literally prices in some places that are quoted in USDT or USDC. And now we're seeing that ripple across the board. So we're seeing payments, trading, we're seeing a lot of DeFi, people able to earn savings on their stable coins. Essentially, it's the rebuild of this whole economy, but fully on-chain.
So Phil, let me follow up to that for a moment here. What are some of the key advantages of using stablecoins over traditional fiat or other types of crypto?
That's a great question. Number one is this cheapness with which you can transfer. So for example, if you transfer a stable coin like RLUSD, which is issued by Ripple, then on the XRP ledger, you can transfer that for literally fractions of a cent, super fast and super cheap as well. When we look at the cost of a wire transfer, I'll give you an example. We recently ran a prize competition for our community, and some of the prizes were very, very small, just as guaranteed prizes. We sent $10 to one participant. It actually cost her $5 to receive it because that was the price. It was a $15 wire transfer. So she actually lost $5 because we sent her 10. So absolutely insane. That's just one example of how stablecoins are making it a lot faster and a lot cheaper to receive and send payments.
Yeah. And Marianne, we know that.
By the way, it would not have happened on Algorand. Algorand, that would have been a fraction of a penny, but just saying. Yeah, a big difference if you do it on Ethereum or something like that.
There's a lot of potential here, but let's talk about some of the risk or fraud patterns that you're starting to see emerge.
Yeah, so the fraud patterns are not unlike what we see in financial services in general. So we're seeing strains in identity proofing, where we have failures in KYC processes, authentication. Certainly, those processes are under strain and fraud as well, just from a transaction monitoring standpoint. So really, anytime you look at something new, something that has speed associated with it, something that has popularity associated with it, you'll find more financial crime. Just generally, the bad actors just go to those places.
Yeah. And Phil, I'll ask the same question of you as well. Some of the fraud that is more prevalent in the stablecoin and DeFi space.
I think there's a couple of different types. I think that early on, what we saw is there was potentially fraud in the actual stablecoins themselves, those who issued them. So the lack of backing. We see this in the big ones that you've heard about. We see it, for example, in Terra Luna, where there was some perhaps fraudulent activity, we'd say, going on with that, right? Essentially, people didn't know exactly what they were buying into. It wasn't fully backed by maybe the dollars that people might have been expecting.
Yeah, what's up, Ali? Welcome to the channel. Green Blue says we need small transaction exceptions, like up to $500. Well, you don't need it if you just have a chain that works. HBAR, Algorand, I think even a Cardano, Cosmos. The fees are like pretty small, and you can do, especially on Algorand and HBAR, the fees are minuscule. And that just allows the velocity of money to move. So yeah, I think that's a big deal. It's a problem that he's highlighting in certain cryptos, but it doesn't exist for like Algorand HBAR.
Even some allegedly fiat-backed stable coins, even to this day, don't necessarily have full audits. And so I would say there's that side. Then there's also what people are using it for. Of course, if you have a system where people don't need to KYC and they are fully interacting within this sort of permissionless ecosystem, that's great for some things, but it's also not great for others. And one of those, as Marianne just mentioned, is of course the opportunity for fraud to arise in the sense of even money laundering or those sorts of risks. But I would emphasize that whilst this is something which is blown up and people talk about a lot, it's still the majority of transactions within this system are legitimate. And it's just that since this is such a new system, as Marianne mentioned, there's a lot to be done in terms of actually, monitoring and also setting in place the systems to monitor that sort of illicit activity.
Right. And Marianne, you bring up a great point in your notes that some of the challenges lie in traditional risk management systems. Give us some examples of that.
Okay, I see Green Blue is saying that was for taxes. Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, you'll have siloed systems.
What you got to remember when you respond to a video, you have to like spell out what you're saying because like there's a big delay on when the chat comes through. So I have no idea. Simon says, yeah, in my opinion, if it happens, it'll be super hard to track. Yeah. So again, guys, when you comment, be specific about what you're commenting about, because like by the time I see your chat, it's like 5 minutes have passed.
Systems that aren't working together, that really creates a challenge. So that technology needs to bring like a cross-channel view or a more combined view. You've got challenges around KYC. I mean, our PII is out there; it's been data breached. So really, understanding if Marianne Miller is actually engaged in this actual transaction is really an important aspect. So to really understand, is she there, or is it just her information that's being presented, or is she actually presenting her own information in the flow? And then there's just the speed. I think that Phil, when we were talking about the transactions, if the volume's in the trillions, the fraud's in the billions. So that's we really it is relative to the size of the actual money movement, but we really need to I think look for additional frameworks and tailored systems that are tailored to identity, tailored to authentication, and tailored to fraud that really meet this use case of stablecoins.
Well, Marianne, let's continue that.
I mean, I kind of agree, but also it has to be done in a way like a zero knowledge way. Like I'm okay with it being a ZK style of ID, but not like I know exactly who you are and what you're transacting, because that's not the point of crypto.
Conversation and see how you can leverage emerging technologies such as AI. What is the role that it could potentially play in risk management in the stablecoin space?
Yes, that's the beauty of this, Jill, is bringing together AI and stablecoins. It's kind of like a convergence all of a sudden. So AI is not new in the fraud and risk space. It's been around for a while. Since the late 90s, we saw it for credit card fraud and transactions, which were in real time. So we saw an early form of AI back then. But now we're seeing AI that can be applied across the board when it comes to really fraud management, identity management, and authentication. So AI can be used for transaction monitoring, so understanding and pattern recognition and understanding patterns. And when you see something that's not normal for that customer, that certainly could be called out. We're seeing AI in resolution of cases that might be maybe a stablecoin transaction that's paused or interdicted just for a moment to see whether it's fraud or illicit activity. Certainly AI can be helped to resolve that and work with the customer to understand what's happening in that payment. So we're seeing even AI can be used if the customer needs to present documents to actually prove their identity. We have AI that's being used to understand the authenticity of those documents, so whether authentic or not.
Yeah. And Phil, you can also use machine learning as another example to test some of these scenarios. And when you think about what the future of AI-powered governance looks like going forward, what do you think a framework could potentially be structured like?
That's a really good point. It's very top of mind. This is actually something that we were discussing. We were recently at the SEC's crypto roundtable the other week. And I can't discuss exactly, the specifics of the conversation, but a lot of it was centered around how do we actually identify risk? And when you look at blockchain and governance, I think in previous cycles, we did have a lot of this sort of very sort of idealistic DAO type of modeling. Now what we're seeing DAOs go towards is we've realized that having everything as a DAO and that sort of governance isn't necessarily the best way forwards. There's a lot of politics involved and it's hard to make decisions. What we've seen come to the fore today in 2025 is DAOs setting the risk and having committees of risk. And when you talk about machine learning, Jill, that's one of the areas where we're looking at, as an ecosystem, we can see exactly what's happened under different regime changes when crypto markets turn one way or another. And so I think for those particular aspects, machine learning, when we're running these regressions across these different risk analyses, is very, very important. For example, we see it in some of the major DeFi protocols to see what should we do in this particular situation and how quickly can we react. And that's a lot faster than doing some of these things, and a lot also more accurate than doing a lot of these things in the way that they might have been done sort of just on a whim, just through a couple of people just making some decisions.
Yeah. And Marianne, lessons can be learned from financial services.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I would love to hear him expand more on how that specifically works, because I do, I've had this issue with governance. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to make, like, say, technical decisions on a blockchain. Like, I don't know blockchain well, the technical side well enough to actually be able to do that. But I could see the idea of people voting for the people who do that, who do have that expertise. Kind of like the XGov. I would actually say the XGov is kind of closer to what I'm thinking on that in terms of governance. So I think that makes a lot of sense. By the way, it was my video title doesn't say crypto is crashing, right? Because that would be wild. It's I updated it. I assume the updates took, but yeah, let's finish this video. We got about 7 minutes left. I think it's pretty interesting.
And e-commerce platforms as well. Sometimes it's not always necessary to reinvent the wheel when you can apply some of these structures that have been in place for years to newer technologies or new types of payment systems or crypto. What can you apply from, let's call it TradFi, right, into some of these newer technologies?
Yeah, the really important part is all about the data. So back to Phil's point around machine learning, it's the data that we need, the right kind of data that we have to make sure that data is in real time, to make sure that data has good standards around that data so that we can actually use the AI and we can actually use machine learning to be efficient. So those kind of standards and those kind of techniques have been around for a long time. So those are things we can use now. That's what, and the ability to actually adjust your models and launch your models very quickly is very important. Rebuild, test and learn, and be able to get those models out there quickly. So those are processes we can use now. There's also processes in identity that are new. There's new modernizations. You can use your phone as a proxy for your identity. So those signals that come from your phone can really help, understand if that's really Marianne behind a transaction. So I would encourage anyone, launching a stablecoin to really look at what we have today to leverage, because there really is, because of, leaning off of all the faster payment initiatives prior to stablecoins can really, you can really leverage those best practices.
I actually think the biggest use case when we talk about crypto is for when in AI is for when agents become more common, because agent-to-agent payments, like crypto, is made perfectly for that. And we've seen demonstrations on Algorand, on HBAR. HBAR actually has studios dedicated to this. That's going to be the biggest use case for crypto. I think when agents, when people are like regularly using agents, like you can get them now, but they're not very common yet. Most people are using the chats, which is great. I get a lot of benefit from those. Definitely though, crypto, agent to agent payments is going to be huge. And that's one thing I haven't heard talked about. What she was saying about the proxy was interesting too. But I haven't heard them say anything about zero knowledge identity or zero knowledge proofs being involved in that. I think they missed it a little bit. I think that's probably one of the most important aspects when we talk about crypto identity, because it helps keep you safe. It helps verify who you are without necessarily giving away all your information and putting it on like some kind of database or something. Green Blue says the real problem is that the fraud is hard to hide in crypto for entities that abuse the existing system. Well, I don't think we want to hide the fraud. We want to root it out, But there's always that there's always a balance between security and freedom, and so you're always going to have some level of fraud on just about any financial system. Banks have been funding cartels activity. I mean, that's not coming out of left field. That's been pretty widely reported. So Green Blue says free Nyla. You know what? I forgot to look at Nyla when I got on there. I apologize for that. But yeah, let's finish this out. This video. Got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, and Phil, I would argue, regardless of what industry, business unit, role you play within an enterprise, it's going to come back to governance regardless of the product, right? So if you want scale, you want security, you want a resilient model, an ecosystem, and policy enforcement from the top down, it's going to just make you more competitive in the overall landscape. I mean, I feel like some of these governance principles should apply across the board to a certain extent.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that there are some principles which are as old as time, right? Exactly for the reasons that you mentioned. My original background before I got back into crypto started off in crypto in 2013. It was very anarchical. A lot of people were like, this is going to be a completely different system. This is going to be something which is going to usurp all of the current systems. And then, I became an attorney in New York, came back to crypto afterwards. And I think at this point in 2025, what we have as a system and what we have as an ecosystem is more along the lines of we've got to work with what we already have And I think Chris Larson of Ripple put it really nicely. He said that every technological revolution hasn't necessarily completely reinvented the wheel. It's built off the back of what's come before. And so I think precisely to your point, yes, we have new tech, we have new technologies, we have stable coins, we have AI, but at the same time, there are certain principles which are tried and tested, and we've got to build on, even though we have these new technologies available to us.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, Phil, because at the end of the day, if you want institutional adoption, right, beyond retail and the original ethos of digital assets in the financial services space, it's heavily regulated. There's no way that you're going to get around that. So I think us versus them versus, okay, let's integrate and find out how we can push this technology forward through scale and have the appropriate frameworks. And I think that legitimizes the next iteration of what finance and global capital markets could look like.
Precisely. I remember over 10 years ago, I was just sitting in my basement, sort of with a tin, or not quite with a tinfoil hat on, but really just everybody was very, very anon, and everybody was very Puritan in that respect. But I think what most people have come to realize is that actually by working together and working together with institutions, that's how we can actually bring this product to the masses, as opposed to it remaining as one niche product, which is enjoyed, or sort of a lot of scholars, let's say DeFi scholars or blockchain scholars, just appreciate as a sort of art form of technology.
I kind of half agree with that. There's some people that are like super against institutions coming into crypto, and I think that's like really misguided. However, I do think there is like a case for both, and I think they're always going to fight it to an extent because, like I said, it's kind of disrupting a lot of systems that like banks, for example, would like to keep. They don't like the yield on US dollar coin or other stable coins because it gives away the game that they've been basically profiting from off of your backs. They take your money, they hold your money, you give them your money to hold on to, and they use that to invest, and they make money from your money. Whereas stablecoins will also do that to an extent, but they're going to give you some of it. that's like a better deal, and they know it's a better deal. That's why they've fought it. Even in the Genius Act, they fought the yield, and they actually got a provision that was supposed to prevent yield, but stablecoins just found a way around it. So I think there was a giant loophole in there, and so they can do it anyway. And that's why the banks are kind of like ticked, like they kind of got hosed. And they should, by the way.
Yeah, Marianne, I would also argue, too, that we tend to think very U.S. or Western-centric in terms of here's the value of a digital asset, here's how I can hedge, here's how I can trade, but the underlying technology is what's helping to grow micro-local economies, alternative forms of capital formation, allowing people around the world to have direct access into our treasuries or markets, as an example. So when you think about it, not so short-term, what it's worth, but longer-term as infrastructure and circular economic play, I think you could get some support behind that.
Yeah, I think of it like a mega trend. So I think about early digitization of payments, and then we had the internet that was combined with the internet. Then we had mobile come on the scene, and that really helped globally people able to move money and have a commerce that was faster and quicker and more accessible. And now I look at stablecoins as being part of another mega trend. And during those mega trends, I think that we can learn from things that we know now and leverage best practices and lessons learned from what we know now. But I also think there's a little bit of forgetting what we know and think about it through fresh eyes. Because I think we needed to do that when we were building the internet. We needed to do that when we were working and using mobile payments, mobile interactions, mobile apps. So I think that's the same for stablecoins. I think it's really, really thinking through fresh eyes, especially with AI.
I agree. I mean, I'd love to add to that, Marianne. I think you're absolutely right in terms of the way that we see these technologies progress. I think one of the clearest ways that this was distilled for me was actually the way that Ripple put it in the Ripple Primer. This was way, way back. But it was that there's this idea that the internet has made the transfer of information virtually cost-free. You can go on Google and you can look anything up. We can be live streaming this right now, and anybody can get that completely for free. But the transfer of value is not free by any means. We talked just earlier about us sending that wire transfer, $15. The person we were sending it to literally is $5 worse off, even though we sent $10. How is that even possible? It's almost insane. And when you're looking at international wire transfers, it's so much bigger, right? It's such a bigger problem. This is about making the transfer of value free or virtually free. That's what we can do with these new technologies, with these new blockchains, with the XRP ledger, with other blockchains as well. It is something which is so important. I think we vastly underestimate the impact which making the transfer of value virtually free is going to have on the world.
Yeah. Well, actually, let me add on to your point as well, Phil. When we talk about things being free, we do have to recognize that our data is the commodity, and it goes back to both of your points why it's critical to have a governance structure in place in order for these technologies to be adopted and to move this forward. So compelling points by the both of you. Appreciate both of your insights. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you very much for having us on.
Thank you, Jill.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Let me go back to the other one. Green Blue says Easy A is an app. Yeah, it's the it's designed, my understanding, it's designed basically to teach people how to build on chain. Yeah, I should follow I'll follow Trade Talks. Why not? That seems pretty interesting. Simon says, yeah, quiz like. It is supposed to be kind of quiz like. I actually haven't, I really do need to try it because I think it's like a really cool idea. And they got Algorand on there, and that turned out to be, I mean, it just blew up Algorand in a good way. It got a lot of people interested in the chain. They hosted some hackathons. So yeah, nice to see Phil on there. I can't believe he's not following me. Sheesh. He was following me. Dom's still following me, and Easy A is, so I guess that's okay. We'll take 2 out of 3, right?
Trade Talks, where we meet with the top
yeah,
thought
good for
leaders
these guys.
and
Good.
strategists in emerging.
God, why would you replay? Don't play again. That's so annoying. I hate that it just automatically starts playing again. Just don't autoplay anything on video ever. It's irritating to me. Okay. Well, this was a lot of fun, guys. I hope everyone had a good time joining on the stream. Thanks for everyone joining. Had a pretty good audience size today, especially on X. We're on like 206, excuse me. So nice little audience there. And yeah, no, I think the right title got in. Okay, I just realized it's just on my chat window that it has the old title for whatever reason. So. All right, well, hey, crypto taking off. In fact, just out of curiosity, let's see where we're at. Oh, I had the tab up already, didn't I? Yeah, falling back down a little under 123, so. But yeah, I would, I think we're going to have a good week next week. I think that's what we're going to be looking at, so. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Great stream today. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks, Catlin. Says great stream. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. And I will see you